Hey guys, welcome back to TEW 2016, the big old WWE save, and we got some awesome action to start the show up. We have a musical intro, like the kind of just classic intros to SmackDown. They've really kind of gotten away with having intros for the shows. It usually just starts with segments and just kind of goes on from there. Besides the then, now, and forever shit, but regardless of real life stuff, we have we're announcing the card for tonight. We see Dolph Ziggler and Ted DiBiase, Perfect Fortunes take on Alberto Del Rio, Jack Swagger. Sorry, my mouth just made a noise. The Gatecrashers take on members of the Coven because they have been having a little feud there. The Intercontinental Champion Colt Cabana teams up with the Samoan submission machine Samoa Joe against Ryback and Lord Tensai. John Cena's Hell in a Cell challenger Sting makes an open challenge for tonight. And to open your program, Drew McIntyre takes on the leader of the new faction, SUZUKI Gun, Meniere Suzuki, for a qualifying spot in the Armageddon Hell in a Cell. I mean, just imagine Meniere Suzuki in Hell in a Cell. That's like a kind of scary thought. But, he's going to have to work to get past Drew McIntyre. Drew McIntyre is no slouch. And he definitely has been on the kind of watchful eyes of trying to, in the kind of crowded field of SmackDown, one of the guys to try to push out is definitely going to be one of him. And in a 75B minus match, Drew McIntyre does in fact defeat Meniere Suzuki in about 6 minutes with a handful of tights because Mark Henry came down to the ring and distracted him. So Meniere Suzuki gets distracted by Drew McIntyre and he loses the match for that. And so it's going to be Drew McIntyre officially punching his ticket into the Armageddon Hell in a Cell. So that's obviously exciting. Can't wait to see who else gets that. I probably should have prepared this, but I do not have. I know it's Drew and Dolph are definitely in it. Oh, and Alberto Del Rio. Alberto Del Rio is also in the qualifying for the big ol' Armageddon match. So, yeah. Like I said, I have. It's been a while since between recordings. I've just been so busy with school and stuff. So if I sound a little off or I forget some stuff, give me some patience. Like right now, I'm also really ahead of schedule, so I'm gonna kind of put a pause in recording again. Like I just rendered bragging rights and I'm about to post it. So if that shows you how long that's been, yeah, there's that. And about that had decent wrestling, but didn't have much heat. The Coven 2, which is their name. Oh yeah, Lyra Tempesta and Melissa defeat the Gatecrashers when Melissa defeated Katie Lee by pinfall with a Kudo driver due to a distraction from Astrid. Luna Astrid's kind of on the side there, and kind of distracts long enough. Her presence is enough to put Katie Lee out of action. So it looks like Katie Lee is kind of the odd one out here. She did do the best in-ring with an 87. Lyra, just because she's not too over yet, did a 51, which is, that's fine. We're not looking for magic here. But yeah, no, we have kind of the continuation of this little feud here. We have our next segment. And then we have a segment in which we see Colt Cabana is walking down the hall when he finds the man he's looking for, his partner for tonight, Samoa Joe. They bump fists as they reminisce about their indie days, and they talk strategy for their match coming up next. But crying can be heard from a nearby door, and we've kind of come back from a commercial break. That's why they didn't just magically teleport. Colt opens it to reveal Katie Lee and Velvet, the Gatecrashers. Katie Lee is shaking and crying just like 2 weeks ago. Velvet's trying to calm her down. We don't really know what kind of what kind of magical hold and kind of shit is going on with that. But, clearly something's going on. Before she spots Colt Cabana screaming for him to get out, Colt quickly shuts the door and, his hair is back. How, in a cartoon when someone yells and their hair is all back, his hair seemingly blown back or lack there. He doesn't have much hair, but you get the point I'm trying to go for by the screaming. Joe shakes his head as he exits the camera view ready for their match tonight. So, yeah, these two guys are going to be teaming up tonight in a tag match. A lot of tag action, I realized, after booking the show. Just like WWE. Bada bing, bada boom. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what I'm doing. It's late. I'm tired. I just want to book this and get this over with. But, yeah. And we have a 75B. The match has kind of been lacking a little bit. But, I get what do you expect. Ryback and Lord Tensai, they managed to defeat Colt Cabana and Samoa Joe when Ryback manages to hit Colt Cabana with the suplex power slam. So kind of building up the story of Colt Cabana not really, struggling to perform against, Ryback, the bigger man, can he keep that Intercontinental Champion? Was it really a fluke? Lord Tensai's kind of in the back because he sucks, and Samoa Joe probably beats the shit out of him because he's Samoa Joe and he's awesome. Yeah, that's pretty much how that match goes down. And then we see Sting's in the house as he makes his entrance, sulking in the crowd reaction. He obviously gets a big one. He gets a huge pop. People are really rooting for Sting, trying to the band to finally topple John Cena. Sting gets a mic and says that his match against John Cena for the World Heavyweight Championship will be the toughest of his life and require him to be at 100%. So that's why he requested a tune-up match for tonight from anyone in the back. He's going to make a star. And the chanter is eventually answered by Heath Slater. So, the crowd goes a little bit. But, it's Heath Slater, You got to give him some credit stepping up to a legend like Sting. The match does a 79, actually pretty decent, all things considered. And a decent match. Sting defeated Heath Slater in 9:23 by submission with a Scorpion Deathlock. I mean, you kind of knew how the match was going to go out, just kind of going all things considered. Sting defeated Heath Slater. I just said that, I don't know why I repeated it. But, it's not a Sasquatch. It's not a squash match. Heath does get a lot of offense. Kind of playing the story, Sting's kind of, he's up there, but maybe that legendary drive of his can make it out, and he does put Heath Slater away in pretty convincing fashion. Next up, we have an interview segment in which Michael, Sin Against God Cole, sits down with Sheamus, Mr. Money in the Bank, where Michael Cole only has one question: is he afraid of Oz? Sheamus laughs, saying that it's all mind games, getting inside Kevin Nash's head like he's tried to get into Sheamus's. Sheamus talks about his briefcase, how he's ever only tried to cash it in once. That's not something others with a briefcase done before. He has respect for the champion. And that here comes Kevin Nash, a man who only wants to ruin all of that, take away Sheamus's chance for glory, and use it for himself. As long as Sheamus is Irish, he'll be Mr. Money in the Bank, and eventually World Heavyweight Champion. So Sheamus talking a lot of bravado, but as you could tell, he's definitely scared of John Cena. I don't think there's anyone on the roster who doesn't give a shit about John Cena, except, maybe like a few people considered, But all things considered, Sheamus definitely, he's definitely probably scared of Oz. I mean, everyone's scared of Oz. So, he's got that Money in the Bank briefcase on the line against Oz. Who will win, we'll have to find out. And then we just have a pretty big segment in which Drew McIntyre and Dolph Ziggler, two guys of the Armageddon Hell in a Cell match, kind of meet up. Dolph wants to congratulate Drew on his victory. It was a pretty good fought victory, but, Drew just kind of walks off, not giving a shit, and kind of shuns poor old Dolph Ziggler. And Dolph gets it, it's every man for himself in there, but he has bigger things to consider, like his tag match with Alberto and Jack, which is in a 96A, really, really good. Glad this got the rating. I was looking for both doing 100s, boys, the tag team division. Ted DiBiase Jr. has a gimmick that's stale, though, so I should note of that. Even then, he got 100. In about the head, great heat and good wrestling. Perfect Fortunes defeated Alberto Del Rio and Jack Swagger in 22-42 when Dolph defeated Alberto with the Dream Street zigzag combo. Jack Swagger was the weak link with an 82, but that's not really too bad. And Ted's getting actually better in his performances. Ted is kind of like a sleeper hit. Like, I always figured Ted was like, I want to do something with Ted. Like, there's a lot of guys, there's a lot of guys, kind of like Jack Swagger, Alberto Del Rio, who, are fun to book, but I never thought would do anything, and Ted was one of those, in my opinion, but now he's become kind of like a guy that I really want to book, and I really like booking. I know I've said that I've had the series planned out, but obviously card is subject to change, Waka Waka, and, anything can happen. Maybe he's going to join that mega faction I have planned with Tyson Kidd, where he's going to fight over the control of WWE. Oh, spoiler alert. I'm just kidding. But although I do have plans for Tyson Kidd, shout out Root Beer Milk. And then at the end of the show, we just, the show ends, Ted and Dolph and Ted are yeah, and then all of a sudden, you could just hear, the sound of people beating the shit out of each other as we turn and we see Mark Henry and Suzuki just beating the crap out of each other. Mark, he's got the big hands, but, I mentioned Suzuki just headbutting him. Like, he's old, and he just had this, like, Suzuki, stop. And the rest of Suzuki Gun, or at least a couple of them, come out, and they actually try to break it up. They're like, please don't kill Mark Henry before the pay-per-view. And Suzuki just constantly just trying to kill Mark Henry doing the same. And Ted and, like, Dolph are, like, pissed off. They're like, you know, we won the show. Like, we got the best match in the show. This other shit goes down. And whatever. And that's how we end SmackDown. And we end SmackDown. Got a 93A. It's kind of weird about the rating here, but again, like, but you know, it was a good rating. Good rating. I don't know why I sighed there at the end. Some of the matches had me worried, but that last match was really good. Perfect Fortunes is the thing that happened. Like I said, Ted DiBiase's stock has been raised significantly by that. But anyway, I want to thank you guys all continuing on from Season 1. And after the next match, we have the last Raw before King of the Ring, which is Raw exclusive pay-per-view. And then after that, we have Hell in a Cell, which is a SmackDown exclusive. So that's all set and good. And I'm super excited. And I will see you guys then.